We will never light this building up for the Patriots. And now New Yorkers, when I ask themselves, can I view it? Yes, you can. Okay, I wish you guys could see your faces from here. Sorry. Yes, I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to ask about.
Sorry, if I could just ask you to speak up because it's a little difficult here.
I wanted to ask about the warming buses across the city. In some experience going out in the Bronx, we saw there was supposed to be a warming bus outside of Jacobi Hospital, and we got there at the time the bus was supposed to be there, and we circled, and there was no bus. We went to one at the Clinton High School. There was a bus, but no signage for anyone to know that that's a place that they can go to stay warm. So is there any further outreach you're doing aside from, letting other government officials know to encourage people to go to these buses? Like, people don't watch the news, people don't have social media. How are they knowing that this is a place they can go to?
I think to your point, we can never rest on our laurels as a city government. We have to go out there and tell New Yorkers directly. Yesterday evening, I was at a safe haven site in Midtown Manhattan, and I got the chance to thank a few outreach workers for the work that they're doing. Because as we all shiver up here in this cold, they are spending hours at all hours of the day outside looking to speak directly to homeless New Yorkers, to actually tell them of those warming buses and to bring them to those warming buses. And that direct street outreach is critical, and it has been a significant part of those workers, as well as those at FDNY and NYPD, being able to make nearly 1,000 placements at this point since we initiated Code Blue. And we will continue to share this information to New Yorkers. The most important way will be that direct outreach, but we will use every single avenue available to us. And just to give a sense to New Yorkers of the different options available, we are speaking across the 5 boroughs of warming buses and vans. We are speaking of mobile warming units that are equipped with clinicians as well as resources, and then warming centers as well themselves. And what we are also working with NYSEM to do right now, partially in regards to your question, is to add additional signage outside of these units so that for anyone walking by them who hasn't actually been met by an outreach worker during their shifts, that they know that these are the units that should be keeping them warm. That signage is going to be rolling out today and tomorrow. And it's important, frankly, that we not just rest on that signage, we not just rest on that direct outreach, but that we continue to use every avenue available to us. We'll continue to do so. Thank you so much.
Hey, Mayor.
How's it going?
I want to ask you a question.
You look warm.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's
You look warm. Where are these guys going? Hey, come on. Hey. Get out, okay. That's good. Get out of here. All right, okay. I guess a few people will pay to come up and see this viewing site. All right, it's just me and my commissioner.
I work for you, so.
Yeah. Yes, please.
That number seems to keep going up day by day, and initially I think your administration told the police department that DSS was going to handle the lead on homeless outreach, and I'm wondering, do you regret that decision at all? And do you think that decision has anything to do with the number of people, increasing number of people who have died out in this very frigid weather?
So I want to be very clear that NYPD has been a part of the outreach efforts throughout Code Blue. They have been a part of it. DSS workers have been a part of it. It's been a whole of government approach. And I think the primary issue here is the weather that we are experiencing. We are speaking about already one of the coldest periods in New York City history, and what could end up being the coldest period in New York City history. And what these city workers have done, no matter whether they're DSS, NYPD, any other agency, they have done the work of reaching out to New Yorkers to make now nearly 1,000 placements. And we know that that is work that has to continue. That is work that we will not rest so long as this cold continues and so long as there are New Yorkers who are outside. And I think that, yesterday when I was at that safe haven, I spoke to a number of New Yorkers who were finding warmth within it. And some of them had come in the night before. Some of them, I met a man who told me that he had been living in an airport for 5 months before he was brought to this shelter. The conditions that people are living through, they are conditions that none of us should be comfortable with. And so we're going to use every single resource at our disposal to continue to build on this work, to open up more shelters, open up more beds, and ensure that New Yorkers are staying warm. I think to be very clear, just at the top of this, the deaths that we have seen at this time, it does not appear there is any relationship between encampments and what we've seen with these 16 New Yorkers. The policy on encampments, we have long said that it was a failure to pursue a policy in the manner that the previous administration did, and we've said that it's a failure because of its having only connected 3 New Yorkers with permanent housing over the course of 365 days. So our policies will continue on the same timeline as they were prior. However, instead of looking to just push New Yorkers from one encampment to another part of this city, we're going to look to emphasize the services that we can connect those New Yorkers with.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Over the weekend, a deadline that President Trump set for himself to pull all the money from sanctuary cities lapsed. I was wondering if you or your administration had heard over the weekend anything from the Trump administration about whether or not they intend to make good on that threat, and if not, is this another example of the president doing taco, or always chickening out?
What is taco?
Trump always chickens out.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't aware of the meme. You know, we have not yet heard any additional information. That date has come and gone. We will continue to stand up for this city and continue to make clear that our values and our laws are not bargaining chips, and we will stand up for them if ever they are threatened. Local celebrity. Well, now everybody knows who I think you look like.
I've been fielding complaints from people in my neighborhood about the slow snow removal. Is that due to the weather? Is there a timetable of when you're planning to finish that?
Sorry, Jacob, could you... The wind is hitting right as you're speaking. Could you say it a little louder?
Is it a reason because of the weather, or is there a certain timetable for when it will get done? And is the city doing outreach in different languages to different communities to communicate about the weather and about this crisis?
So I think it's, as you've said, it is primarily due to the weather. Whereas typically after snowfall of any kind, rising temperatures would assist in the melting of that snow. Instead, what we are all experiencing is a cold that is continuing at a record pace, frankly. And what that has meant is that the entirety of the city's response is up to the city workers themselves. And what they've been doing is an incredible job. However, it is a job that must continue. And it is also a job that has required us to go beyond the typical. What I mean by that is that we might typically have just sanitation workers doing a lot of this work. Right now, we have 2,500 sanitation workers working 12-hour shifts, each 12-hour shift, rather. And then we now have up to 1,500 additional workers, many of them coming from separate city agencies who are supplementing that work, especially when it comes to bus walks, bus stops, and crosswalks. And at this time, we're seeing that that's going to continue. What I'm thankful to see is that the pace of cleanup is increasing. And I am hopeful that that continues to be the case across the 5 boroughs, and that we also make this clear, as you've said, to New Yorkers in every language that they speak. This is a city of the world. As Mayor Dinkins said, this is a gorgeous mosaic, and it's a mosaic that deserves to be spoken to in its own languages. Thank you.
On the trash collection,
Yes, sir.
sanitation has said they're about a day behind, but there are neighborhoods that are saying the trash has been piled up for multiple days, even though it's record-setting cold. Has it reached a point in your mind that they've got to pick up the pace because of the way that makes New York City look?
So, as you've said, sanitation is currently running about 24 hours behind on trash collection. I know that they are working with everything that they have to come up to speed, and that will continue to be a focus for us, because what we want is a city where New Yorkers can continue to return back to their lives as they were. We know that this cold is not going to help us. We know that this is going to continue for the next few days, and I think that what city workers are doing is they're increasing their capacity, they're increasing their capabilities, and I'm thankful for the work that they're doing.
Mr. Mayor, I know over the weekend you
Marsha, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to come over to you because I can't quite hear you.
So over the weekend, I know that you opened a shelter that had 50 single-room beds, and in talking to homeless people, they say they don't want to go to regular shelters, they want those beds. So my question is, how many people have taken you up on the offer of those 50 rooms? And given the rising death count, do you think you're going to have to open more of those facilities in order to get people to convince them to come in?
I think we have to use every single option we have to get New Yorkers inside. And as you've said, there are homeless New Yorkers who have made clear their preferences in the kinds of shelter. And a lot of that, to be frank with you, is because of their previous experiences in the shelters that have been offered to them. And so it's not just about advertising the existing resources, it's about opening additional ones. That work continues. We will be sharing that as it comes.
Thank you guys so
So
much.
how many people took you up on that 50 beds that you opened?
We'll get back to you on that number.
Thanks, Marsha. All right, we'll have to wrap, but any reporters who want to do a tour of the building inside, we have about 15 to 20 slots, and staff will help arrange
Wander
that.
around?
Inside, not